And howdy, everybody. This is General Beauregard coming to you midweek. So much to talk about if you're from the South and Georgia, where we're from. We had the Atlanta Braves won the World Series last night. First time in 26 years. A little hats off to the Atlanta Braves for winning that game. And I guess Major League Baseball was pretty happy because they didn't get to celebrate it in Atlanta. They took away the All-Star game, and the Braves took away the championship celebration by blowing a 4-run lead in Atlanta. What a party that would have been. But a party it is nonetheless. And Atlanta Braves are the champions, and it couldn't come at a better, more fitting time, as we are primarily a football operation. But in as much as that, we're also celebrating the sports in the region, and it seems like the one unifier around the Southeastern Conference is a lot of fan bases. Solid enemies are still Braves fans. That's true for people in Tennessee, Alabama, even all over the South. So congratulations to the Atlanta Braves, and congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. Number one in the poll that matters, the CFP rankings. Number one, Georgia, and somehow Alabama number two, Michigan State 3, and Oregon 4. Those are the ones that matter. What that means, folks, is if they had the playoffs right now, then Georgia will be playing Oregon, and Alabama will be playing Michigan State. Now, if that were the case, I think I know how those games would turn out. I think Michigan State might be the sleeper team in football. That's a good football team. They did right well last Saturday. They still got two big tests. They're going to have to play Ohio State, of course, and that could be a big one. I actually was very impressed with it. Mel Tucker, the coach, used to coach with Kirby Smart's staff in 2017, so there's something of a lineage there. Perhaps you could count him as a protege of Kirby Smart of sorts, and it's nice to see that them branch out and do well. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Mel Tucker was eventually the LSU head coach. In fact, I wouldn't surprise me at all. But we're not sure about how that goes. I haven't talked to anybody in either place. Just so tonight's show was to celebrate two things. The Atlanta Braves winning the World Series. They had to do it on the road. They haven't had a home celebration in Major League Baseball since 2013. Every World Series has been decided on the road since that time. The Braves had a good shot to win it at home, and that might have just been too much gravy for us to take. Everybody was primed and ready, and then we find out in the wee hours, so to speak, that they had won the championship. Max Fried pitched a good game. The Braves got 7 runs on 7 hits and held the Astros to 6 hits and no runs. So baseball is over and the Braves are on top. The reason I connected those two is because I was sort of smelling Michigan State being the Cinderella that the Braves were. The Braves were certainly a Cinderella, a losing record in August, and somehow they go to the World Series. Nothing like the teams that went to the World Series in the 90s with regularity. Nothing to compare them, at least in their regular season performance. But this was a Braves team that somehow put it together, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with Freddie Freeman, who's a free agent, who's the heart of the team. Are they going to just go ahead and pay him some money just to keep him on the flag staff of the franchise, or are they going to let him make some money playing for the Yankees? That might be interesting. Getting back to football, we got the CFP rankings out. There was some very interesting things about those rankings. I was not totally shocked about the four. I was a little shocked about Oregon, and I was certainly shocked about Michigan State. Can't say I disagree, but I was shocked that the committee actually did that. I was terribly shocked that Oklahoma was 8th in the poll. Ohio State was 5th. Cincinnati was 6th, and that was kind of surprised me. They were so far up, they were ranked as high as 2nd in the AP, and now here they are in the one that matters, and they're 6th. I don't see how they can climb their way even a half an inch. They don't have anybody on the schedule. Perhaps people could lose out and things could happen. Certainly, they're ranked 6th, and it gives them a shot somewhat. Michigan and Oklahoma lead the rest of the top 25. The Sooners are ranked 8th and were evidently punished for their lack of, shall we say, style points in their 9 wins. As we take a look at that poll, you've got Oklahoma at 8 and Wake Forest at number 9. Now, they could win the ACC. What would happen then? I don't see how they could climb enough to get in the poll, but it would certainly be nice to see Wake Forest and Alabama square it off. That would be an interesting football game. Steely Dan fans would understand what. Oklahoma and Baylor, Auburn's number 13. Now that's kind of interesting. If Auburn were to beat Alabama, I suppose that would push them up enough where if they were to win the SEC championship game, I guess the door isn't shut for Auburn to have to get into the playoffs, but it's probably as long a shot as you could imagine. And incidentally, they're playing Texas A&M this weekend, and that might just end that conversation right there. You may know that Texas A&M was the team that beat Alabama, and so they're ranked 14th in the country. And Alabama's resume is really quite strange. Their marquee wins don't look too marquee anymore. They opened the season beating Miami and getting all sorts of accolades for the way they played, how smooth they looked against what looks like a pretty close to average football team, and that's giving them a lot of credit, talking about Miami. And so it doesn't look like Alabama's resume doesn't look like they should be put at number 2. They were certainly put there with standing wins. Aren't marquee wins anymore. They barely beat a 4-4 Florida team, and they pretty well trounced a 4-4 Miami team. So their little trip down into Florida didn't merit them too much hay. And looking back, the Big Ten is going to have a lot to say about it. There's some tremendously big games yet to play there, and that's going to have a lot to do. And we're going to be paying a little bit of attention to that. Now, here from Football South, we try to talk about football in the South, but of course, we talk about football, and you can't talk about football in the South without talking about the top 25, and then you can't talk about that without talking about some Big Ten. A lot of people say that Big Ten East is the best division in football. I disagree with that, but it does have 3 really good football teams that could be playoff teams if things play out the way they should. My team that I'm really watching right now is Michigan State. I think that team's going to surprise some people, and I feel like they might actually be able to beat and win out. I have a strong feeling that could happen. That doesn't mean that you need to put any money on it, because the general sometimes gets emotional in his choices, and it wouldn't be recommended. This is just a short update to talk about some momentous occurrences. Georgia's number 1 officially in the poll that matters. All they got to do is play football and win, and they should have no problems putting on the crown that they have been allowed to ride as a demo until the playoffs. But the Atlanta Braves got their ring, and finally, the city of Atlanta has more than one championship ring. So about time, and it certainly was the most unexpected one of all.